Well, how do we follow up on our most popular episode ever? Episode 18, our emotional father son story. Well, today I have a history story. It's a mother son samurai story. Or maybe it's a mother grandson story, or it could even possibly be a mother great grandson story. You see, it's a 465-year-old mystery concerning a very famous tanto. We're going to discuss it today on Sword Talk. Welcome. This is Sword Talk. And today we have not only a unique story, but a really beautiful piece of art, which again is what I look for when I go out and purchase antiques. Both of those things. It has to have a nice backstory, something unique that I haven't seen before, or rarely see. And since most of my non-samurai clients are art collectors, it has to be visually beautiful. This satisfies on all of those levels. First, though, it behooves me to thank you all for the very, very nice response from the last episode. Episode 17, which was obviously a very, very personal story for me, and I'm glad to see that it resonated with a lot of you. And I really appreciate the comments. I'm always happy to get personal emails. It does help me a little bit more for YouTube recognition points if you put those comments directly on the YouTube site. But I'll take a nice compliment anywhere I can get it. That was a father-son story. I think it's a great follow-up today to do a mother-son story. But as I said in the opening, a lot of time has passed, and we're not quite sure about the actual specific events. First, let's look at the tanto. It's a mix piece. The blade comes from 1583 from a smith of well-renowned, Kanimoto. This is an unusual Kanimoto blade because it's not traditional of his work, and that either means that it's more valuable or less valuable. Depends if you want a traditional piece from a traditional artist, or you kind of like the idea that this is something new. It's kind of like Picasso doing a Norman Rockwell kind of painting. Some people want the traditional artist in what he always does. This blade's going to be something a little bit different. So that's the first thing. But we're gonna get to the blade later, because the story begins with the kashire. This was a princess blade. It was for a wedding for a prominent princess daimyo. And the engravings on it and the markings on it are absolutely wonderful. At some future point, it got inherited by a male heir, a warrior. And he liked the history that this was, again, in the family. Let's assume it's mother-son for purposes right now. He liked the idea that this was his mom's wedding blade. So he took that kashire and fashioned a new blade. I don't have the original blade to this. The blade we do have is old enough. It's 1583. And it's a warrior's blade, and we're going to see why this wouldn't have been the blade of a bride. Although we don't even know if it wasn't fashioned after the style, because there were female samurai and she could have been a female samurai. I told you this was a mystery. Nothing's easy here. And the family I bought it from, and they've had it in possession for centuries, is they have, when I buy stuff from families, it's the more people I talk to in the family, the more different stories I get. it gets confused in time. So let's just see what we do know. Let's start with the beautiful saya. The saya is Yurushi, the black lacquer, but engraved in it is this wonderful makie. And makie is gold that's filled in by the craftsman. They oftentimes cut grooves. There's different ways of doing makie. They cut grooves in the wood, which is then lacquered, and then fill it in with gold. They can also do the design directly on it. This one looks like the work was done directly. It's heart-shaped, but don't let your Western influence distract you here. These were not intended to be hearts, which would be nice for a wedding tanto. That's more of a kind of a Western symbolism. It's nice, and it's a nice, soft, artistic shape. And inside the heart shapes are symbols of prosperity and longevity. There's wheat, there's beautiful flowers. And also in the makie, inscribed directly in as a counter set, are some beautiful spirals. Again, a symbolism of long life. The butt end, the kojire, and those of you who are familiar with this show know I love a detailed kojire because they tend to be rare. And I love them. This particular one is iron, tetsu, and again shows the artistic work of carved lines filled in with gold. Now here's something special to note. Not only the makie design, you can see within the heart there, not only is that intricately designed in gold, but look at the iron kojiri, the background. That is all channeled by hand. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's just that beautiful kind of spider-like veining design. Which, by the way, matches the fushikashari. The fushikashari are the fittings on either end of the tsuka. Beautiful match set. The saya also has one extra feature that I love and love in every sword that I can possibly get when I find it. Either a kozuka or a kogai. This one has a kozuka, which is a utility knife that's contained in a separate shaft on the side of the saya. This is separate so that the blade of the kozuka does not touch at all the blade of the tanto or the knife. This is done, and again, this is from the wedding kashire. It's done in symbols of prosperity and longevity. It's got the crane. It's got a silver deer with golden antlers, long life. It's got the god Hotai in his bag of presents and good fortune. It's also, the kozuka is inscribed on the back. It's signed. Rare. It's rare that the kozuka itself is signed. The blade is also signed. We got a double feature here, folks, because as I said before, the blades very, very rarely last. They rust out and they get lost and they literally get thrown away because it's the handles that are collected. And art museums around the world, not samurai museums, art museums of all kinds have collections of samurai kozuka handles because they were so beautifully and delicately done. The surface of this is featured in little series of dots called nanokaji, translates to fish roe, all individually hammered in. Absolutely time-consuming, incredible work of art. It's included on the handle of this kozuka. So this is this is a nice special piece because it has a kozuka that has survived intact through the ages. I suspect that the koshire was 17th century. But at some point, the blade was inherited, the koshire was inherited by a male heir, we think, who then put in a kanematsu blade. And it has a very, very, very thick mune, spine, backing. These were known as leather piercers, not to be confused with the iron piercers, which had even thicker backs, that came about after the Portuguese discovered Japan and introduced chainmail. This is obviously a weapon, as we've discussed, designed to be used at close combat. And the typical samurai armor consists of layers and layers of leather, and sometimes wood and other and heavy cloth. So this was reinforced on the back to pierce those heavy layers. It's called an iron piercer. The hamon on it, again, is not typical of this particular smith, which again goes back to, wow, this is a rarer piece, or not his traditional work. Maybe he experimented with it and didn't like it. It's got a copper a brass over copper. Copper usually was the base of these habaki collars because they had a little bit of give in them, which is what the blade needed. And then they covered them either in gold. Sometimes the habakis are solid gold, but usually it's that shell of copper with brass, silver, or gold on top. The blade is just under 9 inches. One side has a double groove, the other a single groove. It's a nice design. The rest of the koshire has on the kashira, again, that engraving with gold highlights. Absolutely beautiful. The tsuba, small, because this is a knife. Sometimes these knives didn't even have a tsuba. They just fit in without that extra guard. Done, I think, mostly for artistic purposes. I think the fushi has also the same pattern of flowers. It's very delicate, just really, beautifully done. And the manuki are shikudo, which is gold mixed with copper, and some silver and some gold. Overall, a beautiful, beautiful item. It's the best bargain I ever got in samurai antiques, and so I can pass it along. This is probably the lowest priced samurai item I've ever offered for sale, and yet it has all those features. It has that kozuka. I love that. I just love that feature because it is an extra item and it's an extra piece of artistic work. It has that history to it. It has just fine, detailed work throughout. I wish I could tell you more specifically who had it and who inherited it, but we call it the Princess and the Warrior because it's a nice intergenerational piece, and I kind of like the symbolism of it and the tradition of it, and the fact that the family has kept it all of these centuries. Of course, as with all my swords, they come with a book that has pictures of all the pieces and a complete history of the sword, complete history and provenance of the fittings. Thanks for watching. Anyway, if you're interested in this one, send me correspondence and I'll send you some more photos.